space, that vast realm full of more mysteries than certainties, constantly taunting those researchers who peer through telescope lenses at the immeasurable emptiness that lies beyond our atmosphere. Although new discoveries are constantly being made thanks to the constantly improving technology that we have at our disposal, these discoveries do not always provide us with exact answers about space. In fact, frequently a new discovery means uncovering even more mysterious and unanswerable questions. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 interesting space discoveries. Elon Musk's first human colony on Mars would have to survive on a vegan diet. It could not be anything more like a movie. Elon Musk recently announced that future Martians will survive by growing their own food in solar-powered hydroponic glass dome farms. As a result, meat will not be on the menu, and these first people on Mars will have to survive on a completely vegan diet. Musk does say, at least for the moment, that it will likely only be the first 100 people on Mars who are limited to fully vegan cuisine, owing simply to the extremely high levels of power which will be required to run and maintain the self-sustaining farms, combined with the obviously limited resources. For example, a study written by John Strickland from the National Space Society outlined the fact that you would halve the number of people domes could sustain if they also required meat and fish compared to a vegan diet. Similarly, it is also thought that if people did stick to a plant-only diet, a 0.3 square mile farm with 4 levels to it could feed a colony of approximately 5,000. However, Musk does not foresee glass domes being the story of life on Mars forever, and rather suggests them to be a form of temporary habitats for the first cohort of people to help develop more permanent infrastructure on the red planet. With Starship, the Mars rocket, looking highly likely to be ready for its first test orbit sometime this year, the possibility of life on Mars is becoming increasingly real. Therefore, preparing for other logistical details, such as how to then survive once you have reached Mars, will be the next groundbreaking research needed in the field to continue expanding our horizons, quite literally. Plans for life on Mars are wide and varied. China, United States, and the United Arab Emirates all have plans to succeed at cracking human travel to Mars by 2040. And the UAE has gone so far as to plan future civilization on the red planet. However, Musk is currently making headway and has the most aggressive plan, aiming to get a human crew to Mars by 2026 and an established thriving city by 2050. With international involvement creating even more competition and incentive to be the first to Mars and first to facilitate life on Mars too. Exposed bacteria can survive in space for years. Humans are curious, though egocentric creatures. For decades, centuries even, we have wondered if there is intelligent life, like us, or really any life at all out there on other planets. If there is life out there, or if any life from Earth can survive, how long can it make it in the rough conditions of outer space, and how might life move from one planet to another? Back in 2015, a robotic arm on the International Space Station managed to deposit exposed microbes onto a handrail, a staggering 250 miles above Earth. This meant there was bacteria left to be hit with the harsh conditions of space, entirely unprotected from the cosmic ultraviolet rays, gamma rays, and X-rays. The length of the experiment was just 3 years, and scientists were on the edge of their seats wondering if the bacteria would survive the duration of the experiment, and perhaps more importantly, wondering what the implications would be about the ability for life to move between planets if it did indeed manage to withstand these tribulating conditions. Looking at how organisms make it through seemingly impossible conditions is not a new concept. Microbiologists refer to these organisms as extremophiles, a term that refers to any living thing that can survive the unsurvivable. Extremophiles can be found in plenty of areas, such as deep-sea trenches, not exclusively in outer space, though understanding how these creatures can thrive in such hazardous spaces is a truly momentous task. We know in these extreme environments on Earth, Some extremophiles make it through entirely unprotected for a few days, and for some they can make it years by hiding away within rocks, providing some sort of shelter. This study has revealed a little more about the extremophiles pushed into the trying climate of space. The team's findings were published in Frontiers in Microbiology in 2020, and with conclusions having been drawn from the International Space Station experiment that began in 2015, it seems as though the bacteria type Deinococcus radiodurans can survive for a minimum of 3 years in space. What makes this research even more thrilling is the suggestion made by Akihiko Yamagishi, a microbiologist at Tokyo University of Pharmacy and Life Sciences and lead author of the study, that microbial life could make it between planets when traveling, even without a rock for protection. These researchers had considered several species of bacteria, though Deinococcus radiodurans seemed particularly noteworthy following a series of trial tests. From 2010 to 2015, Yamagishi and his team took to conducting a number of small experiments on this bacteria species, recreating the conditions of the International Space Station. These simulations would allow the team to see if there was any potential for the experiment to return the results they were after before embarking on the mission itself. The team needed to prove their research held some sort of credibility before being permitted to conduct their experiment. Japan's Space Exploration Agency needed evidence of a possible success before allowing the team to try. Yamagishi commented, "We wanted to say we don't know, we just have to try it, but this isn't permitted for space experiments." Luckily, the series of simulated tests ran on the bacteria signaled they could be truly onto something. The tests included exposing the bacteria to high levels of radiation, reducing the pressures massively to create a space-like vacuum, and rapidly varying the temperatures, covering a 140 degrees Fahrenheit range in only 90 minutes. Despite all of these stresses, Deinococcus radiodurans remained strong and resistant, proving to the team they had selected a good species of bacteria from their potential candidates, and proving to JAXA that their experiment was worthwhile. This bacterium is largely impervious to the radiation, showing little signs of damage. This is understood to be due to their genetics. This, coupled with the protective outer layer that these cells have, meant the microbes survived the tough conditions of space even with radiation levels 200 times higher than those we experience on Earth. Researchers had checked the microbes annually, collecting data and conducting an analysis to check their progress and condition during each year of the experiment. When the team applied this data and these trends, they were able to predict that Deinococcus radiodurans could survive from 2 to 8 years as it travels between Earth and our neighbour, the Red Planet. This could mean that we have life not only on Earth, but also microbial life on Mars too. Yamagishi hopes that as the research continues to evolve, they will be able to conduct similar experiments even further from Earth, though only time will tell what else it is that we will be able to uncover. Jupiter's Great Red Spot may survive by eating smaller storms. Jupiter's famous Great Red Spot is undoubtedly the storm to end all storms. A massive anticyclonic high-pressure storm with swirling winds that rage at speeds over 400 km per hour, it holds the title of the largest storm so far discovered in the solar system. And recently, scientists realized that the key to its size may be none other than storm cannibalism of sorts. In the past few years, some thought that the Great Red Spot may have been well on the way towards running out of steam at long last, as it appeared as though it was slowly decreasing in size. Additionally, smaller anticyclones, which were smaller than the megastorm but still about half the size of Earth, kept running into the storm, and it appeared that they were taking small bites out of the swirling clouds and further decreasing the size. Upon further study, researchers now believe that the opposite is true. Rather than shrinking the Great Red Spot, the smaller anticyclones were being consumed by the larger storm, resulting in the latter increasing its internal rotation velocity and further fueling the enormous swirling mass. Because anticyclones, like the Great Red Spot, are composed of high-powered winds, churning around a central area of intense pressurized air, When the smaller anticyclones collide, the larger storm effectively steals their rotational wind and uses it as a power-up of sorts in order to increase its own wind speeds. This process is what caused the storm to appear to shrink, when it was simply absorbing the forces of the smaller storms to become even stronger. Once the energy has been absorbed from the storm collision, the Great Red Spot would return to its previous size. Essentially, although it appeared that the smaller storms, named flakes because of the way that they appear to flake off parts of the cloud swirling over the Great Red Spot, appeared to be shrinking the size of the storm, the larger storm was feeding on the flakes to become even stronger. The process of absorbing the energy from the anticyclones made the clouds covering the Great Red Spot contract and shrink, making it seem as though the storm itself was growing smaller. However, the entire time that researchers were attempting to discover what was happening to Jupiter's famous spot and why it appeared as though it was running out of energy, the powerful vortex at the center of the storm underneath the clouds was becoming ever stronger as it powered the winds that swirl famously across Jupiter's surface. Although the shrinking size and the deceptive nature of the flakes made it seem as though the Great Red Spot was going to disappear forever, scientists were very quickly reminded that, when it comes to space, not everything is as it seems, as the famous Great Red Spot was simply becoming stronger than ever. But what do you make of these outer space discoveries? And the question is, what will they find next? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.